Be showing a clip from Citizen, a short documentary that puts emphasis on individual stories and motivation behind the veteran activists and rising leaders organizing the 6th annual Texas Reproductive Rights Rally. We'll also chat with their director, Leah Carlisle, after. And because this thing takes a long time, I'm just going to buy more time. So this documentary crew was actually at our January show when we interviewed the women who were organizers of the Austin Women's Rally, which is different from the Women's March, because it was Austin Women's Rally which collaborated with Texas Reproductive Rights Rally. So one of them, Kim Whitehead, has been on the show many times. She is a phenomenal local activist. Andrea Hughes, who I believe is in the clip, you will see. I'm just going to keep talking, but it's really inspiring. Leah Carlisle reached out to us. And it just timed perfectly with our interview with Wendy. And these women were inspired as the unruly mob, or the people's filibuster, as you say. So let's see the first clip of Citizen.
You know, as a survivor of reproductive coercion and human trafficking, the moment in my past that resonates the most with why I do this is during the course of being human trafficked, there was the situation where I was basically watching a gang of men debating whether or not one of the girls that they were trafficking could get an abortion. And my biggest feeling in that moment was absolute helplessness. Like, I desperately wanted to be able to do something to intervene, to help her somehow. And there was nothing I could do without risking my own life. And it was the moment that I started to have that same feeling in the Capitol, watching this whole process unfold, where on a wider level, another gang of men were dictating not just the decisions of one person, but potentially thousands. And so I think that sums up what really galvanized me into this.
Please welcome to the stage Leah Carlisle. Hello.
Yeah, hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so what inspired you to tell this story, and how did it evolve throughout the production of it?
So reproductive rights has always been something that's really important to me, and I knew that that was where I wanted to go with my next documentary. So when I got to Texas, I started kind of looking around at different organizations and trying to get a feel for the movement in Texas. And I came across the Texas Reproductive Rights Rally. And I was really kind of gripped by their origin story. Like you kind of started talking about, they started out of the Wendy Davis filibuster. It was this group of women that really became close during the months preceding the filibuster and then during the filibuster itself, and felt that there was a need for a movement, a need for an event every year to keep that momentum going. And so they just did it. None of them really had any political background, and they just kind of got themselves together and made it happen. So it really kind of started as their stories, their personal stories, and kind of how they got this organization moving. And then through filming, it became really clear that this organization was kind of trying to grow and to evolve with a movement. That they really kind of went with the position that it wasn't just about abortion rights anymore, although that's obviously a very vital right, that it was really about a woman's ability to have a family when and how she wants. And when you start looking at it like that, it becomes really clear that it's really under this umbrella of human rights. It's not just reproductive rights. And that really starts to pull in immigration reform and LGBTQ rights and racial injustice, and it starts to be very clear that if you don't have all these things, that it's impossible for people to have a family in the way that they want to. Mm-hmm. And this movement was trying to adjust, to grow, to make spaces for all these different platforms and facets of that movement. So it really became looking at this whole movement as a whole through the Texas Reproductive Rights and how they're trying to adjust for the 2019 rally. So It was really cool.
Yeah, at the rally it was inspiring because they didn't keep it to just repro rights. Like they had speakers of all different backgrounds, like a trans speaker, an immigrant speaker. So it was, I feel like they were like covering all the bases, because I think the trouble with some waves of feminism is that it's not inclusive, it's not intersectional.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that you can't have, you can't just limit it to one version of feminism.
Yeah.
Like you really, if you're trying to have this be for people to raise their family across the board, that you really have to include all the different issues that people come across in raising a family. And so that's something that the TRR have been working to evolve and make, and that's what's kind of shown.
At the most recent rally, yeah.
Yep.
So what are the calls of action you're aiming to provide through this doc? I know on your website you list a couple organizations as suggestions to get involved.
Yeah, so we've been working really hard to be very intentional throughout this entire process. So the documentary itself is a call to action. You really kind of shows this story through the personal stories of a lot of the different activists who take part in the rally, organizing as well as speaking. But then also in promoting the rally, we're trying to be very intentional with getting people to be active. Our website, as you said, it has a lot of information on different organizations in Texas that are kind of putting in the work. But then also our social media pages, we are trying to be very up to date on current legislation, different organizations that, like, if in Texas and outside of Texas. So just trying to keep people informed, keep people engaged throughout this entire process.
Amazing. And you hired an all-woman crew to make this. Why do you feel it's important to have this type of representation in film?
I mean, having women behind the camera telling women's stories, having that representation in front of and behind the camera was really important to me. I think that it shows in the love and dedication that was put into this documentary, because you get people that actually care about these issues and want to put their all into it. And then also the opportunity to collaborate with a bunch of women on women's stories was something that I thought was incredibly important in this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm excited to see the full. Do you know when it'll be out? Or are you going to be going through the film festival circuit first?
We're going to be going through the film festival circuit. We're hoping to have a rough cut done by the end of June, and then kind of go from there. So end of summer, where it will be finished.
Awesome.
Ideally.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I have a that Time of the Month poster and something weird from the Dollar Tree I threw in there. But thank you, Leah.